All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Monday Market Report for the week ending September 27th, 2020. The Monday Market Report is the video in which we talk about some of the more relevant post-1900 modern coins to have sold at auction this week. This week, we have just a myriad of awesome, great collection sales. A lot of great stuff. I would say, just looking up and down the list, I would say we have a little bit more earlier pieces, which might signal a little bit of a trend in that direction. People are looking for premier, high-graded, earlier pre-1950 coins, generally more of the, I guess, the obsolete styled coins like Buffalo nickels, Mercury dimes, things of that nature, that people are really feeling a little bit more safer in pumping money into numismatics. We've seen not only a change in not only the coin market here recently, in addition to the precious metals market. Okay, we've seen what I would consider to be kind of like a correction. Not really sure where things are going to be headed. This is not surprising at all, just based off of just the sky rocketing, trajectory of silver and gold the last 6 to 8 weeks. It was just going to be a matter of time before a little bit of profit taking was going to be added to the mix. Plus we are pre-election. All right, so it's not a surprise to me to see the kind of like the investment side of things soften up a little bit before the elections in November. But anyways, that is just a trend that we see during these times every year. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of the sales from GreatCollections.com, one of the premier weekly in and out auction sites for coins and currency. Nothing really of note to discuss from eBay for this past week, but a lot of great coins on here. I had offhandedly mentioned that there were a couple of 1960s quarters that sold for a good deal of money, but probably a lot more than a lot of people would expect for these high mintage dated coins to sell for. But we're going to take a look at a few that ended here in the last week. So, without further ado, I figure we just go ahead and shoot right into it. But before I get started, as always, like, share, subscribe if you're brand new here. All of the extra support during these crazy times would certainly help. In addition, the Coin Q&A panel is launching a new site. We are launching a new YouTube channel in which all of the live streams for every week, which, by the way, I believe they're going to be on Wednesdays now. All right. So we are going to be looking at a shift. Actually, I think today, the 28th, we are going to have a show for you guys. This evening, I'll keep you guys informed with a post, so make sure you keep an eye out on that. But we're rebranding everything for the group, and should be a lot of fun. So if you guys have your coin questions, stay tuned. More to come. It's going to be fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into some of the sales for the week. Starting off with really surprising entry on the list. We have a 1980 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one graded out PCGS Mint State 67 plus full red. It's a top pop coin. It's the highest grade possible so far for this date. Philadelphia struck 1980s are just really tough to find with the amount of luster and just the cleanliness of the luster and the planchet are two of the things that you don't normally see on this date. Generally, I've cracked open lots of BU rolls in 1980s, and I can honestly say between the carbon spotting and the mushy strikes on some of the examples, this is a very challenging coin to find. And because of that, this coin sold for $2,300.62. Always using a little bit of a disclosure for you guys, a word of caution if you guys are going to get into grading moderns. It's one of the most difficult things you could do. Some would even say that you would probably have better luck winning the lottery. All right, so keep that in mind. These coins can be feast or famine, but they can also have some pretty tremendous windfalls, especially in this market that we're dealing with today. where there's a lot of money being injected into not only top pop high graded coins, but also coins with fantastic eye appeal. All right, so make sure you guys use caution if you're going to get into grading moderns. It can be very expensive without any returns. So there you go. I guess, this is going to be my one per video. I mean, it wouldn't be a Monday market report without having a 1943 steel cent. These 1 year specific special coins are always a hit. So when a high graded example comes into the marketplace, you better believe that you're going to have a number of bidders, primarily investors, that are going to be gunning for the top pop coins. This example here, the San Francisco, is a really nice, pleasing PCGS Mint State 68. It is also CAC certified, where there's a little extra premium that goes into that. And this one sold for $2,617.88. That has been the normal, $2,500 to $3,000 for these coins. Is a normalcy, and we're going to continue to see that. Again, it's just the 1 year type. Steel cent is always a hit throughout, not only registry set assemblers, but also investors as well. All right, so this is a 1932D Lincoln wheat cent. We're getting into tougher date and grade comparison territory. This is certainly one of those coins that's really hard to find in these high type grades. This one, of course, tabs out at a Mint State 67 full red. Just a pleasing looking coin, one in which I firmly believe will be in the registry set someday. This one right here is also part of the Sunset 123 provenance that Great Collections is selling through. This one right here is sold for $6,669. It is worth it. It's worth that kind of money. A Mint State 67 in any early 1930s dated coin of this type, especially when it comes to a branch mint like a Denver or San Francisco, it's just huge money out in the marketplace. So if you do come across stuff like this, keep in mind you might have a mini little cash cow. These are extremely relevant in the marketplace today. Speaking of which, really nice, market acceptable coins from the 20s are also equally tough to find as well. Here we have a 1927S. This one grades out PCGS Mint State 64 red, a relatively modest graded coin. It is also CAC certified. So just to let you guys know and make sure that you are aware, coins during this decade, especially in the heat of the Great Depression age, are really tough to find in mint state in general. It could be a brown, it could be a red brown, or it could be full red. A full red example of any coin during the 20s, even Philadelphia minted coins, are certainly tough to find. So if you do find them, just be wary that sometimes those things can be cleaned and doctored to give it the appearance of a full red. And people generally take advantage of the fact that a lot of these coins were not so well struck. So, this particular coin is not fancy at all, but again, it's a full red example. Again, a very modest, middle-of-the-road type grade. This one right here is sold for $1,743.75. I would consider this to be kind of like that tier 2 level of coin. There are Mint State 65 reds. I even believe there's a 65 plus and a 66 red. Those are incredibly rare coins that transcend the 5-figure mark all day long. Alright, so this is a continuation from the 27S that we saw before. A 1923S is incredibly tough to find in any grade above AU55. No joke, because I was assembling what I would consider to be a really nice higher end type set of Lincoln wheats, and this date right here always seems to be one of those stoppers. I was able to find a Mint State 61 brown at one point, in which I had a hard time cracking it out of the holder because it's just one of those coins that you have to keep it in there to preserve the value long term. So this one right here is a Mint State 64 brown, although still considered a Mint State coin You can even see a little bit of red in the protected areas around the letters and rim, and right here under the date. This particular coin right here is sold for $1,096.88, proving once again that the investor quality coins, can appear and look like this, and with good reason. The tougher they are, the more expensive they are. And then finally, the last Lincoln, the whole bunch, is a 1919, a very, very sharp-looking early teens coin. This one is a huge, huge graded coin. Mid-State 67 plus full red by PCGS. Not traditionally something that you come across on the daily, that's for sure. Just look at the coin. This is, a very prevalent look to these earlier teens coins. You kind of have like the very swirly, kind of texturized fields on these coins. Some would even say they're a little bit more crude compared to today's style of minting, and it sure is. It's just a completely different world 100 years ago. But this is a really nice, pleasing coin and such a high grade that, probably a coin like this comes around once every 2-3 years. I'll be honest, it's that rare. This one right here is sold for $2,167.88. I could only imagine if this was a Denver or San Francisco minted Mid-State 67 plus, we'd be talking just an insane amount of money. I would hard to venture a guess as to what that dollar amount would be, but again, when you have the dedicated group of Lincoln cent enthusiasts out there, which are among the biggest, this is the most widely collected series for collectors, you're going to have a lot of people battling out to own some of those coins. All right, surprisingly, we don't have any Jefferson Nickels in this week's group. Maybe in October. I forgot to mention, this is the last Monday market report for the month of September, as crazy as that sounds. But how about a good old-fashioned, wholesome 1937D, okay? Outside of the fact that it's a Buffalo nickel, there's really not a whole lot of just kind of like, ooh, gotta have it because it's that rare. 37D, folks, is one of the most common Buffalo nickels. If you wanted to go out and buy this coin raw in mid-state, you'd be looking about $25-30 bucks. You want a really nice one for a typeset, you could do a lot worse, that's for sure. But guys, the grade, mid-state 67 plus, I cannot stress more of how insane a grade like that is on a coin of this ilk, this age. It's just nuts. It's also CAC certified. There's a number of Buffalo nickels I'm talking about today that are CAC backed as well. This one right here is sold for $1,464.75. This is a tier 2 type coin. I believe there's a mid-state 68. That's the top hop for this date. And the same for this 36. So just another really nice coin. PCGS mid-state 67 plus, CAC certified. There's a lot of parallels between this and the 37D previous. Just this, I believe, is one of the highest graded or highest minted coins that you could find out there in mid-state, or in any grade for that matter. This is just a widely circulated date right here. This one sold for $1,492.88. All right, so we're getting a little bit tougher, and the 1920s are certainly a period in time for Buffaloes where if you're lucky enough to find one in mid-state, whether it's a Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, congratulations. You have probably untapped about 1% of the Buffalo nickel resource for the date. This one right here is a very eye-catching, very appealing mid-state 66 plus. Very lustrous from what I could see. The strike isn't particularly fantastic on the obverse. You could just see some of the flatness and weakness here in the hair and in the braid. And then on the feathers, okay, that's just sign of the times, I guess, Great Depression age. CAC certified. This one sold for $7,060.50. If you thought this one was nuts, how about 1921 Philadelphia? Now, this is a tough date, okay? I will go out and say that this one is especially difficult to find in mid-state. It doesn't matter if it's a mid-state 62 or 64 or 65 or even a 67 plus. like the one that you see here. This is just, an abnormal type of coin to come across. Even has a little bit of remnants of some clashing, which is pretty cool on this coin, so it gives the coin some character. Mint State 67 plus through PCGS, CAC certified. And this one sold for $25,312.50. The farther back you go, into the teens and 20s of Buffaloes in this particular grade, you're talking about people just don't care about how much they're worth. They will open up the checkbook and they'll scribble away. Name your price. That's pretty much what the game that we're playing here with these coins. Okay, so in contrast, no one would ever expect a 2011 Philadelphia Roosevelt dime to be on the list, especially after following such a huge coin in that 1921 Buffalo. But what we have here is an example of what a top-graded Roosevelt dime in the modern era would look like. Okay, this one is a Mint State 68 plus full band coin. Of course, we would expect really nice high grades out of these dimes, but keep in mind, these coins are produced at such high mintages that, there's going to be 99.9999% of them that's going to exhibit just less than desirable looks to them, whether they're all nicked up because the coins are shooting out of the minting press at such a high rate that they're all clanging and banging against each other in the hopper. And this right here, this one came out almost relatively unscathed. This one right here, for your guys' information, sold for $648.74. I believe this is the top pop. I could double check, but just to let you guys know, that's how much these coins are going for at the highest level. Okay, so one of my favorite coins to talk about, and this is the ultimate treasure coin out there. Now, there is only one other coin that would just kind of like usurp what the 1968 No S proof dime would follow, and that's the 75 No S. But this one right here is a PCGS graded proof 68 cameo. It's got a little bit of frosting, on both sides of the coin on all the devices. But check your proof set, guys. 1968. I mean, these are proof sets that are worth about $8 to $10 right now. There's bound to be a few more of these out there. These are big dollar coins. This is the most recent example to sell at auction this past week. And this one sold for $25,312.50. I would say I would probably buy the 1921 Buffalo for the same amount of money over this one. Only because I'm a purist at heart and I just love the classic coins more so than the later stuff. But again, this is a means to an end, quote-unquote, style of coin. You find it, you grade it, sell it for just insane amounts of money, and then you do whatever you want in the world with that kind of money. I mean, 25 grand is a lot of money. That could do a lot of things. But, this is a coin that exists as a real treasure hunt piece out there today. Okay, so this, I would say, it's not my favorite toning. But this is a 1949 S. It is one of the top 3 toughest and most desirable dates of Roosevelt dimes. This one right here is also a PCGS Mint State 67 full bander. And it is also worth mentioning that this is part of the L.S. Brown Collection Provenance. This one right here sold for $1,136.25. Again, when the toning becomes this dark and splotchy, this is more on the terminal side of just overall eye appeal. It just exudes originality, and that's what people want. People are more favorable to coins that look like this than some that are blast white. It's really 50-50. There's 50% of people that really like this look, and then there's the other 50% that just prefer, straight out of the press appearance, full white, just lustrous, that sort of thing. Excuse me. Okay, so the last dime on the list is a 1945 S. Mercury. Actually, we have one more dime after this, but this is a very common date coin. PCGS Mint State 68 full bands. You can see this one has tremendous strike on the reverse. Now, if you could find this coin in a 45 Philadelphia, now we're talking. But this one's no slouch either. The coin has pretty nice toning on the offers. This is a blast white reverse. That's typically common of a coin that maybe that's, was at one point a roll ender in a paper roll. But anyways, this one right here is a really nice high grade example. This one sold for $5,859, proving yet again that early classic style coins, common date, at the highest grade level, it commands rich money out there today in the secondary market. And I don't see this changing here in the foreseeable future. I would say the coin market is they continue going strong for about the next 6 to 12 months. We'll see see how it all shakes down. But all summer long and into, the beginning parts of the fall, we're just seeing strong secondary market activity for common dated obsolete coinage like this one. Okay, so the 38p is also a relatively common date, okay? Philadelphia's generally are, going back to maybe the 1920s, but this one, ladies and gentlemen, is a stunner. It's beautiful. Mint State 68 full bands. Who would have thought? This coin is all that in a bag of chips. This one right here can either be an investment coin or maybe something that's a slot into a high-end Mercury dime registry. This one sold for $5,063.74. So the two feature coins that we're going to talk about needs a little bit of explanation. Now, the first one right here is a 1961D. Let's go ahead and get all of the fine details out of the way. This one is a PCGS Mint State 67 Plus CAC certified. It's a love it or hate it toning experience on this one. However, there are a few Denver keys in the early 60s, okay, and I'm going to tell you guys to go ahead and dust off your BU rolls of wash and quarters from this era that are probably among some of the most rarest coins in grades above Mint State 66 Plus, 67 and up. So much so that they are worth just a boatload of money. More money than I would say, given the date and the mintage. These things are minted, by the way, in hundreds of millions. Probably, it's more money than you would expect for a coin of this nature. This one sold for $8,606.25. If you knew of a friend or buddy that's also in the coin game and you said, hey, you know what? Blue Ridge said that a 1961D Washington quarter, and they're going to know exactly what you mean. You're like, oh, 61D is common. I find that in a scrap bin all day long. Oh, yeah. One sold for $8,600. That is going to get a conversation going for sure. In a good or bad way, I don't know. There are people that are so negative about the whole coin grading experience, especially when it comes to like the super duper uber modern coins of this era, okay? People just really dislike talking about grading 1960s coins because of just the quality control is bad on a lot of these coins. So it becomes a topic of, well, I'd rather have a root canal than to try and send out 4 or 5 of these quarters to PCGS. But at the end, you guys realize the amount of just the ability to make this kind of money off of a coin that is so undeniably common just seems mind-boggling. I've talked about it for years on my YouTube channel, but I can't stress this anymore. It is just a impossible tale to tell when you look someone in the eye and say, you know what? That 1960s Washington quarter can be worth as much as $8,600. That just seems pretty out there to me. And here you go. Case in point. Now this one, I'm going to give some style points too because of the toning on there. But even still, as an NGC graded coin, which some would say are a little bit more conservative on their grading style over PCGS, remains to be seen. 1960D. Probably one of the more common Washington quarters, right? You could pick any date in the first 4 years of the 1960s, in 90% silver, of course, and really say that, this coin is available in droves out there. I find them in albums all the time, it's just, that's what it is. Mint State 67 Plus, it's got the nice colorful palette of toning on the reverse that I like a lot. I like it least on the offers, although it's more rainbow-like on the peripheral of the coin. But even this coin, $4,162.50, just seems like a lot of money for a coin that traditionally you could walk up into an LCS and purchase a BU example for $5 or less. I mean, just think about it. There is a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, there's a lot of just overall just the scared factor in sending a number of these and having to pay $100 or $200 for a submission of 1960s quarters can be an anxiety-filled experience, especially if you don't hit the grade that you want. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and do it on this edition of the Monday Market Report, the last one of October. I will keep you guys informed of the new changes with the live Q&A crew and the website and the new YouTube channel where all of the live streams are going to be filtering through. Make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. And yeah, keep on collecting, Coinaholics. I will see you guys next time. Take care.